Hello again, YouTube. This is Eucep with another opinion. As you might have noticed, I have renamed all my reviews to opinions, since it actually makes more sense to call them opinions than reviews. These aren't really reviews, this is just my opinion on certain figures. And for today, I'm going to give my opinion on Masterpiece Grimlock. Um, I got this guy a few weeks ago already. I actually showed it off with Big Black Block, tongue twister, Big Black Box. But today I've decided to go into a bit more in-depth review of this guy, opinion. Well, I'm probably going to say reviews more often, but the title will be opinion. Now, let's start off with his dinosaur mode. He is very much alike to his G1 form. He really is the stereotypical Tyrannosaurus form created by Walsh, if I'm not wrong. I'm not entirely sure, but or was that Brown? I'm not entirely sure. My knowledge on dinosaurs, it used to be quite good, but well, I haven't been at it for a long time, so I have to dig. Anyway, one of the earliest discoverers of dinosaurs, he discovered the Tyrannosaurus, but he really didn't have that much knowledge about how skeletons work and all that kind of stuff. So when he got the skeleton of the Tyrannosaurus, which I have to note out, pretty much for all dinosaurs that goes, they didn't get a full skeleton of the Tyrannosaurus. Fact is, till date, I don't believe they actually have a full skeleton of any Tyrannosaurus. I believe the first one was probably only his skull and a few bones of his body. So back then it really was a big guesswork on how he would look. It's only now that we have a more accurate view due to there having been found so many more skeletons. But back then it was just done from one skeleton, which was very incomplete. So, well, they got this idea that a Tyrannosaurus, so big, so heavy, he should have used his tail as a third leg for support in order to move forward. So hence the old display for Tyrannosauruses is this ungainly on two legs and pretty much straight up look. So the old Grimlock really is still from that time. So his robot mode is or his dinosaur mode is completely based upon that fact. Now he does really look good in this form. He's quite well detailed. There are a few issues with gaps in him, but that's mostly due to his gimmicks, which are found in him. This guy has two gimmicks found in his head. No, actually three. First of all, when you open his jaw, at this side there is a button hidden in this jaw, which makes his jaw snap shut if you press it. Now, if you pull up his head to look up, you can press on his feet and his head will snap down. The idea is if you press up and down on him, he should nod a bit with his head, but it really does not work. Best is if you press it up, then press once and his head will snap down. That's about it. I think it's one of the worst of his gimmicks. I think they wasted a lot of gimmick material on this. And lastly, there is his tail. I first was of the idea that I actually had to wag his entire tail, but it's just having to rotate his entire back section to make his head rotate. which also looks rather silly, and it also makes his head rather a bit problematic to pose, because as you see now, I'm not touching the tail is straight, but his head is looking sideways, and trying to force it make back. So I think once again gimmicks are ruining some of the figure, which is too bad. Well, as you see, his tail is fairly movable. You can whack this chromed part. What I also dislike, this part is chromed, but the very tip isn't. It's a more silverish paint than the actual chrome, so it doesn't look that good, but I think they did it because this point would otherwise chip way too easily. His legs are very posable. They can rotate pretty much the entire way. He has double jointed elbows or knees, but the top part doesn't move that well. In fact, there's only this click. That's it from the top part. The bottom part can move far further. He can also rotate, but is limited, at least on this side where the electronics is hidden. Let's see. No, this side is also limited in that. His claws, they can also be folded in, but that's more for an alternative way. I think a combat fist mode or something like that. I'll show that when I'm at his robot form. His arms, there's a kind of ball socket for his shoulder, so he can rotate and move it around fairly freely. His elbow can turn to 90 and all the way back, so 100 degree or 180 degrees. His individual claws can move all three. They have a fair range of movement. As you can see here, this is about how far they can go. As you know, he has several accessories, which also involve in his dinosaur mode. I hate them, so I'm not even going to bother to show them, but he has a bow tie and an apron and a dish with a few glasses, so he can be a waiter. And I really do not know where that came from. I know about the brain cap for Computron, but the waiter outfit, I really don't know where that's from. My guess is from the comics. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to skip on the transformation and see you in a moment for the robot mode.